man, oh man, so much MMA this weekend. And we're also getting a tremendous stacked pay-per-view card from the UFC 288 Sterling versus Cejudo. So many fucking great matchups on this card. My mind is blown. Before we talk about the handful of fights that we are going to talk about, any other fights or fighters that you guys want to quickly spotlight for our listeners and viewers?
I would just quickly shout out Chaos Williams. We're not going to preview his fight. He's fighting a debuting fighter in Rolando Bedoya. But he comes in pretty well regarded as well. So definitely one to watch. I guess my assumption is that we see a Chaos Williams knockout, which is always fun to see, but you never know. So tune into that one.
Yeah. Also, Ugly Man Holmes is on this card. He's
nice.
1-2 in the UFC so far, so one would imagine he probably needs to make a good counting of himself in this fight.
I like Ugly Man Holmes.
Yep. Phil Hawes is also returning on this card as well. Another one who probably wants to make a good accounting of himself as well. He's in a little bit more trouble, having dropped 3 out of his last 4 fights.
Dude, kind of a quick return for having your leg torn apart, huh?
Yeah.
When was that?
That was October.
Also, he hasn't lost 3 out of 4. He's lost 2 out of 3. Take it easy.
What?
Okay, let's go.
He lost against Chris Curtis.
Yep.
Oh, grappling. My bad. Well, can't fucking win a grappling match either. But yeah. So definitely 2 guys that I would look out for. Also, Zalgas Zumagulov is on this card as well, which I'm just now realizing.
Yeah, I
oh
thought he
shit,
had
he's
retired.
even in worse shape. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I just want to say real quick to anybody who's watching this as a clip, I apologize. This is towards the end of our recording session. I mean, you guys can agree. Towards the beginning of the night, I was back, and my body is just like yelling
The
at me.
coffee's running out.
My body
Caffeine's
is
gone.
yelling at
Dude,
me.
you
right
can
now.
bail if you would like us to handle this
If it
segment
gets to
on
that,
our own.
if it gets to that level point, maybe. So again,
Okay.
anybody who's watching and does not know, I have a 3-week-old infant living in my house right now.
Which means he hasn't slept for 3 weeks.
Yeah, man. Okay, let's fucking do this. I need some cocaine. First fight we're gonna do here in the women's strawweight division. Marina Rodriguez taking on Virna Jandiroba. Let's fucking go! Out the gate, this is like a main event fight on any fight night
love
card.
this fight.
Marina Rodriguez, the 36-year-old out of Brazil. Birthday's coming up, end of the month, turning 37. How about that? 16-2 with 2 draws, 6 knockouts on her record. Only ever been finished once, and that finish came just recently, this past November against Amanda Lemos. She will be standing across Virna Jandiroba, the 34-year-old out of Brazil as well. 18-3 as a pro with 13 submission victories on her record. Most recently, a UD over my girl, Angela Hill. Mark, start us off. Give us your take and your pick of Rodriguez versus Jandiroba.
All right, pretty tight odds here. Marina is minus 135 as the favorite. Jandiroba is plus 110 as the underdog. 3 inches of height and 1 inch of reach on the Marina side, and I am a believer in Marina Rodriguez. Her last fight with Lemos, I don't think was her best, but I'm not going to stop believing as of yet. We know Jandiroba's game. She's going to want to control Rodriguez on the mat, and I just don't think she can do that to Marina Rodriguez. Her 3 UFC losses have come against, this is Jandiroba, have come against the 3 girls that she's fought who can grapple. Carla Esparza, Mackenzie Dern, Amanda Ribas. And Rodriguez fits that bill to me. She's already shown that she can survive the grappling of a Mackenzie Dern, and I don't think it's different here, which means we're going to see time on the feet. And I just think that Rodriguez is going to be racking up points when we're standing. If it ends up going the other way, I will definitely start to be concerned about Marina. But right now I still believe in her game and that she is high level in this division. I think she lands more often, with more variety, with more power, and takes a clear UD.
Omar.
Yeah, man, I like Virna Jandiroba, if we're being honest, man. I think she's a very good fighter. But I do like Marina's hands a little bit better. I trust them a little bit better. And I think if obviously we have to put one against the other here, I think Marina is just going to overall be a little bit crisper when it comes to the boxing. Jandiroba really shines when she's able to get it down to the ground or when she's able to catch you with some of those big winging hooks that she likes to throw. But Marina's boxing, I think, is just a little too slick. As long as she keeps her wits about her, not going to the ground and getting taken down, which has happened to her before, I don't think we'll have that issue. So I'm going to go with Marina Rodriguez by unanimous decision.
We are unanimous with this one, boys. I'm a fan of Marina, and look, I think Virna, she's a scary broad, man. She's like intense, but I believe in the kickboxing skills of Rodriguez, and I will take her by unanimous decision.
Nice.
Moving on, we have Kennedy Nzechukwu taking on Devin Clark. Nzechukwu, the 30-year-old out of Dallas, Texas, 11-3, 8 knockouts, coming off back-to-back wins over Carl Roberson and Ian Cutelaba. He'll be standing across from Devin the Brown Bear Clark out of South Dakota, 14-7 as a pro, 4 knockouts, 9 decision victories, coming off of a UD over Da Woon Jung. I'll go first this time. I've been leading the picks for quite some time now, to my surprise.
Because you get to hear our takes and then decide
I always go
what you want
last.
to do.
I never change my take because of your guys' takes, but I might as well go first in case you guys want to do that. I keep fucking picking right. Not all the time, but
I think you've heard Mark and I both talk about Devin Clark, his ass. So
yeah, I'm not high on Devin Clark, and I haven't been. And Nzechukwu has really made me a fan, man, especially after that last performance against Cutelaba. So I'm going to go with Nzechukwu in this fight as well. I'm going to say round 2 knockout over Devin Clark. Omar?
Yeah, dude. Nzechukwu is one of those guys that I really like because he works for everything that he's gotten, right? He's not really a ton of flash, but when he gets in there, man, he's there to scrap and he takes it seriously. And you can see he's one of these guys that's not naturally talented, and he's had to really put in the work and the effort to get to where he's at, and it's showing. I think he's really starting to see the fruits of his labor here, especially in his last 2 performances. They've been really fantastic. I even think the Dao Junwang, I think he was doing well until he got fucked up in the short amount of time that fight was. But Devin Clark on the opposite hand is, for me, the definition of a 50-50 fighter, man. Like, the dude, I could literally flip a coin and I would trust the coin to tell me exactly how this fight is going to go, at least when it comes to Devin Clark. Devin Clark won his last fight against Daun Jung, who Nzechukwu lost against, but that to me just means that Devin Clark is due for a loss. And so for that, I'm going to go with Nzechukwu by first round KO.
Okay, Mark.
Nzechukwu's the favorite, minus 195. Clark is plus 165 as the underdog. 5 inches of height and 8 inches of reach on the Nzechukwu side, which is enormous. I was impressed by Devin Clark in his last one. Every time I write this man off, he bounces back, but at the same time, he always loses again after the bounce back, so we'll see if that pattern continues. And as much as I think it is possible that Devin Clark could out-wrestle Kennedy, I think that the sheer size of Nzechukwu will help him a bit in that department. And he's honestly been improving his wrestling fight by fight also. So, I just think that the reach and the size lets him put something on Devin Clark's chin. We know Devin Clark's weakness is that he gets hit clean too often. And this size difference to me is just screaming that he's going to get jabbed or kneed or clipped with something huge. And I just don't think he can control Nzechukwu enough to nullify that possibility all fight long. So give me Kennedy Nzechukwu, round 2 TKO.
Nice.
Love it. R.I.P. Devin Clark.
Okay, lightweight division. Drew Dober taking on Matt Frivola. Drew Dober, the 34-year-old out of Omaha, Nebraska. His record stands at 26-11 with 1 no contest, 13 knockouts, and he's riding a 3-fight win streak coming into this weekend, finishing by knockout all 3 opponents: Terrence McKinney, Rafael Alves, and Bobby Green. Did Bobby Green, isn't he changing his name to just King?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Drew Dober will be standing across from Matt the Steamroller Frivola. He is the 32-year-old out of Huntington, New York. Let's go, Strong Island. 10-3 as a pro, also 1 draw, 3 knockouts, 3 subs, 4 decisions. He is riding consecutive wins coming into this fight. Omar, start us off this time. Frivola taking on Dober.
I think this is actually quite an amazing fight. I'm a big fan of Dober, though, man. I don't think I can stray away from that allegiance right now. I like Matt Frivola. I think he's fun. I've seen him fight in person. I've met him on the plane. I met him off the plane. Cool dude. Follow him on Twitter and all that. Fun guy. I would probably be picking him for majority of the fights, but not against Drew Dober. I can't do it. Drew Dober is my boy. I've been rooting for Drew Dober for too long to just jump off that cage right now for a Matt Frivola. So I'm gonna go with Drew Dober here by unanimous decision. I have seen Matt Frivola get better, but I think Drew Dober is just gonna be a step above.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm a Drew Dober guy. I mean, this guy has turned me into more and more of a fan of his. I love watching him fight. He is a guy on the roster who is sort of must-see because the guy fucking bangs. Every fight of his, anybody could get knocked out at any moment, him included, the way that he fights. But he has a fucking great chin. He has great power. And he's down to fight whoever, man. And I think they should push him more, man. I think he's marketable as hell. And I'm going to take Drew Dober once again by knockout. And I think he's going to get a lot of attention with a 4-fight win streak, all coming by way of knockout. I think he's finding a new gear in this part of his career. So I'm going to go with Dober. I'll say round 1 knockout. I'll say end of round 1. He lights up Frivola like a fucking Christmas tree. Okay, Mark, finish this one up.
So Dober's favored. He's minus 220. Frivola is plus 175. I'm in a similar boat of you guys. I will pick Drew Dober against maybe any non-ranked lightweight that there is. I mean, that's probably not 100% true. I'd have to think of who's out there. But, like, the point is I love and believe in the game of Drew Dober. He can wrestle. He's got a chin. He's a fucking dog. And he puts on a friggin' show with his striking, his timing, his angles, the adjustments he makes in fight, the way he goes to the body, obviously the power. It's just I enjoy the whole game of Drew Dober. And I know, kind of as you guys alluded to, I know Matt Frivola has made advancements. In the past, he was kind of simply known as a wrestler. He's been flatlining some dudes recently, so you know, he's showing more to his game. But I think in this fight, if I'm in his corner, I'm kind of pushing him to go back to that wrestling, because as explosive as he can be and as powerful as his hands are, I just think he's outgunned on the feet. I think the technique is just on a different level for Drew Dober, and I think that's what this fight's going to come down to, because I can't see Drew Dober getting taken down much. I don't think he can be out-wrestled here enough to nullify that. So I think he's going to be landing on the feet all fight long. I don't know if I am going to say knockout. I feel like I may end up regretting that. For some reason, I'm seeing this go to the cards, so I'm going to say Drew Dober UD.
Okay.
Dude, Drew Dober only loses to the best of the best. It's hard to pick against him, man.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. In the featherweight division, I'm so excited for this fight. We have the return of Kron Gracie taking on Charles Jourdain. Is it Jourdain or Jourdain?
Jourdain.
Jourdain. Thank you. Kron Gracie, the 34-year-old Gracie family heir, obviously out of Brazil. He is 5-1 as a professional mixed martial artist. I don't know what his record is in terms of jiu-jitsu. I'm sure it's ridiculous. Like I said, he's a Gracie.
A lot and a little.
Amazing. Is what you say?
A lot and a little.
Okay. Like a lot of wins and a little losses.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. He came into MMA with a lot of buzz in 2014. He won his first 5 fights, by the way, of course, all by submission. And then he ran into a great veteran named Cub Swanson, who kind of schooled him, didn't he? Didn't Cub worked him?
I believe.
A
Yeah.
little bit.
He did.
Yeah,
That
he
is correct.
like endured a beating. He
Yep.
obviously made it to the bell, but yeah.
That was
And,
Tampa.
And do you guys know, was there an injury? Is there a reason why he hasn't fought since 2019?
I don't know. I tried to look it up. I didn't find shit.
I feel like a part of it was the pandemic at first, and who knows kind of what escalated from there. But yeah, dude, he took that ass beating from Cub and like went completely radio silent. Like even the announcement of this fight for me was like, what the hell is this coming from?
Interesting match.
Yeah.
Interesting
Yeah.
match. Okay. So he'll be standing across from Charles Jourdain, Air Jourdain, the 27-year-old out of Quebec, Canada. He is 13-6 with 1 draw, 8 knockouts with 4 submission wins. Only one of his wins coming by way of decision. Man, oh man. Real quick, he is coming off of back-to-back losses, so he's looking to get back in the win column as well, dropping decisions to Shane Burgos and Nathaniel Wood, most recently back in September. Man, I'm excited for the return of Kron Gracie. I'll go first here, because I want to see how far Kron can go in MMA. But man, I do not want it to be at the expense of Charles Jourdain. I'm on the Jourdain train, man. I love his striking. He's one of the more exciting new up and coming featherweights. This is a tough fight to pick, though. It really is, just because of the sheer, high level expertise and specialization of Kron Gracie. The question is, will he be able to absorb some strikes? It's tough to say, man. It's tough to say. I'm going to roll with Charles Jourdain here. I think Kron is going to have taken too much time off. I think there's going to be a little bit of rust. And it's tough, man. I'm so on the fence with this one because it's just such a big question mark. But I'll say Jourdain by UD as well. Mark, why don't you go?
I have only just realized that Air Jordan is a play on Air Jordan because I'm an idiot.
For fuck's sake.
And like,
Wow.
clap it
My
up for
mind.
that man because that's fucking great.
Oh my god, we clapped it up for him 5 years ago.
Yeah, I never
Jesus.
even processed it.
I never processed that either.
Oh,
wow,
Jordan.
really? There we
Air
go.
Jourdain.
The two sports fucking guys here didn't get Air Jordan. Look at this nonsense.
Oh man.
Shame.
Well, Air Jordan is the favorite in this fight. He is minus 180. Kron Gracie is the dog at plus 150. I know that Cub Swanson showed the way to beat Kron Gracie. I know he hasn't fought in almost 4 years. Again, I'm not sure what the story was there. I think he's going to tap Charles Jourdain.
Yeah.
I think Jourdain is a bit too wild and a bit too willing to fight anywhere in any way. I don't think he's built to fight safe and fight a smart fight, and I think he's going to leave an opening that costs him, and Kron Gracie only needs one. He showed that against Alex
True.
Caceres. I think he shows it again here. I think it's some type of scramble where he rolls into something or he grabs it back out of nowhere or something to that effect, and then you're like, oh, fuck, Charles Jourdain's in trouble. Oh, fuck, Charles Jourdain is tapping. That type of a deal. So I will go Kron Gracie, round 1, sub.
Oh, yeah. I could easily see that too, man. Oh, my God. Okay, Omar, go.
It's such a hard pick, man, because Kron Gracie has nothing but submission, and I think that's really what the problem is do I really believe that Charles Jourdain can't keep Kron Gracie from taking him down? Because the reality is he can fight outside that entire fight, and Kron probably won't have a real answer for him. And I'm gonna counter. I think he can fight smart. I think he will fight measured.
It has to.
I think he'd be dumb to not see how. I don't really like using the word easy, but how much less problems there will be on the feet than if he were to try to take it or be sloppy enough to get taken down to the ground. I'd have to imagine, especially Jordan having dropped 2. I don't think he's trying to drop another one to a dude who's not even on his level when it comes to striking. So
Good point about the dropping too.
yeah, I got to think that he's going to be fighting this one a little bit smarter. I'm going to go with Jordan by unanimous decision.
Man, I just don't want to live in a world where Charles Jourdain is like on a long losing streak and is out of the UFC. Because I want to see this guy fucking rise up in featherweight rankings. Okay, sticking with the featherweights. Now let's move on to Movsar Evloev taking on Diego Lopez. So Evloev,
Such a fucking buzzkill.
crazy man.
I was so looking forward to Evloev and Bryce Mitchell. I really was.
Yeah,
This is
man.
the second time they've tried to do the Bryce Mitchell fight with this kid.
Pain.
We're gonna have to talk about that a little bit. Okay, Evloev, the 29-year-old out of Russia, undefeated, 16-0, 9 decision wins. Most recently, defeating Dan Ige by UD back in June. He is 6-0 in the UFC, of course. Diego Lopez is his replacement opponent, 28 years old, out of Brazil. He's coming in, making his UFC debut. He did appear on Dana White's Contender Series back in August of 2021, a losing effort to Joe Anderson Brito. But recently he has been back in the win column with back-to-back wins in Fury and in Lux Fight League back in November. Mark, why don't you lead us off here? Give us your take of Evloev versus Lopez.
Evloev is a bit of a favorite. He is minus 600. Diego Lopez is plus 450 as the dog. 4 inches of height on the Lopez side. Granted, only about 1 week of notice. And yeah, this one sucks. As I said, I was really pumped to see Evloev and Bryce Mitchell go at it. Unfortunately, we get robbed of that. Lopez steps in on very short notice here. I don't know him. I didn't see his Contender Series fight. You look at his record, he actually seems like a quality fighter, so maybe he doesn't get absolutely run over here, but Movsar Evloev is the real fucking deal, and Diego Lopez is not the guy to change that, and I think Evloev may actually get his elusive first UFC finish here, so give me Movsar Evloev by round 3 TKO once Lopez tires a bit on the short notice here from all the from the ringer that Evloev is going to put him through.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I think Evloev is easily going to get the victory here. I will say, though, that due to the quality of Lopez's apparent skills, according to his record, I'm going to say that he goes the distance and Evloev cruises to an easy unanimous decision victory. Omar.
There's too much positive for me for Movsar to pick against him at this point. There's a lot working against Diego Lopez, and his resume shows a lot of holes, a lot of ability for guys who are just not that good to be able to beat him one way or another. And I don't think you can have that kind of discrepancy against a guy like Movsar Evloev.
Got it.
I think he does it, man. I think he finishes him. I think he does it in the 3rd round. Submission.
Okay, moving on. Women's strawweight or flyweight?
Straw.
Strawweight. Thank you. Jessica Andrade taking on Yan Xiaonan. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Andrade needing little introduction. 31 years old out of Brazil. 24-10 as a pro. 9 knockouts. 8 submission victories. Most recently, a submission loss at the hands of Erin Blanchfield back in this past February. Yan Xiaonan, the 33-year-old out of China, 16-3 with 1 no contest, 7 knockouts and 9 decision victories, coming off of a majority decision win over Mackenzie Dern. A bit of a classic back in October. Omar, lead us off here. Give us your take and your pick of Yan Xiaonan taking on Jessica Andrade.
I think the height and the distance is going to be probably one of the biggest factors in this fight. Yan Xiaonan has, she's 5'5", and Jessica Andrade is like, they say 5'1", but something tells me that girl was probably wearing like sneakers when they measured her potentially.
Yeah, you met her.
She's tiny, dog, tiny. But if there's one thing I can tell you for a fact about Jessica Andrade, that is the most solid woman I have ever put my hands on. I mean, I feel like I could push fucking Jessica Andrade and that girl would go nowhere.
Just clip that one sentence.
Yeah, that was a good one. Jessica Andrade is a beast, though, man. She's an absolute animal. She's got that championship mentality. She's gotten the championship experience. She's held the belt before. And we need to be real about the situation. This is a big, big spot for Jan Zernan. This is a moment for her to really break through. She's had some good performances recently. She's got some nice names on her record now, having recently beaten Mackenzie Dern. She's got Claudia Gadelia on there, which is not a bad name to have on there. Colt Kawich, but that was kind of towards the end there, so that one doesn't hold as much weight. But she does have Angela Hill on there. She's legit, man, and she's another one that works for what she's got. She's not flashy. She's a very, very gritty fighter. Fights out of Team Alpha Male, so she's got that tenacity when it comes to the continuously like go kind of style. Jessica Andrade is going to be a bruiser in here, man. She's going to be looking to put hands on her. She's going to be looking to try to take the things down when she can. I think she's going to have problems finishing Jan Zernan, but I do think that she will find success in there. I think it might take her around to do it, but I think she finds success in there. I'm going to go with Jessica Andrade by unanimous decision.
I, too, am going with Andrade by UD. I think this is going to be one of those performances from Andrade. I feel like she is going to have a performance where she shines, and she's going to, again, have sort of an underrated hand speed against Jan, and I see her getting out of there with a unanimous decision. I think Jan is durable enough to withstand the power of Andrade, so I'm going to say Andrade UD. Mark?
So Andrade is favored. She's minus 200. Jan is plus 165. As Omar mentioned, 4 inches of height and 1 inch of reach on the Jan side of things. I know Jessica got somewhat wrecked in her last fight against Erin Blanchfield to the shock of mostly everyone. Not that she lost, but the way that she lost. But I don't think that there's any reason to write her off here. And I actually think she's going to have a bit of a chip on her shoulder because of that loss. She's back down at 115 pounds. She's fighting an opponent who prefers to strike more than anything else. And yes, she is at a size disadvantage, but she often is. The reach isn't anything noteworthy, and I still think she can win these exchanges. I think she pressures. I think she makes Jan back up a lot more than she wants to. I think she lands harder, has the bigger moments, and takes the cards. And she could even mix in some wrestling in this one potentially if she wanted to. So I think this is her fight. I'm going to say Andrade UD.
Beauty.
Jessica
All
Andrade
right.
has never missed weight before. I don't know why I thought she did. But 125,
She hasn't had
135, she's
cutting
always...
issues?
No.
I guess not. I
Okay.
I guess maybe I assumed because of a lot of the back and forth, I assumed there might have been some weight issues there. But to be honest, no, not at all.
Okay,
No, she's just a girl who wants to scrap with all different people.
Yeah.
cool. All right, co-main event time.
Oh, boy, here we go.
UFC 288. One of the harder fights that I have had to think about picking. We have Bilal, remember the name, Muhammad, taking on Gilbert Durinho Burns in the welterweight division. A very consequential fight at 170 pounds. Bilal, remember the name, the 34-year-old out of Chicago, Illinois. His record stands at 22 victories with 3 defeats and 1 no contest, 16 of his wins coming by way of decision. He has been on an absolute tear. I don't have his full record in front of me. He is on quite a win streak since his no contest to Leon Edwards back in March of 2021. He's on a 4-fight win streak, defeating Demi Maia, Stephen Thompson, Vicente Luque, and Sean Brady, finishing Sean Brady in the second round. Gilbert Burns on a tear of his own. Durinho is the 36-year-old out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. His record stands at 22 victories with 5 defeats, 6 knockouts with 9 submission victories. He's on a 2-fight win streak, defeating Neil Magny by triangle choke and Jorge Masvidal. And what's really impressing me about Gilbert Burns is his frequency as of right now. He fought in January. He said, "Put me back in, coach." He fought in April. and now it is May, and he's fighting. So my man wants to be active. He wants to collect checks this calendar year, and he's looking great, man. He's looking really, really great. Without knowing what the odds are for Mark right now, I'm going to guess that these odds are very, very close. To me, this fight feels like a pick'em. These guys seem to be very evenly matched, skill for skill. They're the same height, very similar build and stature, but they're both very solid welterweights who are on a little bit of the shorter end of 170-pound division. That being said, it's not that I'm flipping a coin, but I just feel more confident in Gilbert Burns right now. I love this guy's motor in the fight. He has such a burning spirit of competition and a will to win. Obviously his ground game, his pedigree is world class. Now, and that tends to be a strong suit for Belal, but against a guy like Burns, I think that's really going to negate Belal's wrestling. So I'm going to go Gilbert Burns by unanimous decision. Who would like to go?
Fuck.
Get the call.
I'll go real quick because I have this idea about bro, like it's this fight is so hard to pick because Gilbert's one of these guys, man, that like he's really good, really, really good. The ground game is in this point in the UFC especially is probably very, very top tier, top maybe 1 or 5 across the entire organization. But Belal, whatever the hell Belal has been taking since the pandemic has been some shit because the man has been fighting, I think, on a different gear. His forward pressure has been crazy. His strikes have been lengthy and rangy and consistent and straight. The technique has been great. The mix in with the ground game has been great. The ground control has been really good. And Gilbert Burns is an animal, but like it really begs the question: who do you think has the best ability to win this fight? And as much as I want Belal to win this fight, it's just really hard for me to pick against Gilbert Burns right now. He's got the 2 losses to Hamzat and to Kamaru, but the Kamaru one, he was doing pretty well up until he wasn't. And the Hamzat one was a back and forth banger that really wasn't fought as smartly as it could have been fought. But I think he knew that. I don't think it's lost on them that was something that he could have made improvements on going forward. But the Belal one is too important. This is the one that's going to get him to the belt. This is the one that's going to get Gilbert really what he wants. So I'll go with Gilbert Burns by split decision.
Wow. Okay, Mark.
So you are right. The odds are very close. Gilbert Burns is a slight favorite at -125. Belal is the slightest of underdogs at +105.
Wow.
1 inch height and 1 inch reach for Belal, so not much to note there. Pretty much same size. This fight was made on pretty short notice for both fighters. But on one hand, you have Gilbert Burns coming in fresh as a daisy, dying to fight on this card. And on the other, you have Belal Muhammad, who just recently finished observing Ramadan and was kind of vocal about not wanting to fight so soon after it. But he was convinced to take the fight. He was farther from weight than Gilbert. And on top of all that, Gilbert somehow convinced him in the UFC to make this a 5-round fight. So in normal circumstances, I think I would have been really 50-50 on this fight. Maybe still landed on Burns in the end, but with all of what I just said factored in, I think it's Gilbert Burns' time to shine. I really do think that the matchup favors him here. All of Belal's wins on this run that he's on have come against guys who he can expose in a certain area, like Damian Maia, wrestling. Stephen Thompson, wrestling. Vicente Luque, wrestling. Sean Brady, striking. Gilbert Burns ain't that guy. You are not exposing Gilbert Burns anywhere because he's not weak anywhere. Like, Belal has had a lot of success on the feet because most guys are so conscious of being taken down that they leave themselves open for him to land. And Gilbert isn't going to give a shit. He's happy to work his jiu-jitsu. So he's going to go for it. on the feet. I expect him to look comfortable there, the same way he did against Chimaev, honestly. And on the feet, he's the much better striker. He has more variety, better setups than Bilal, better counters than Bilal, more power, natural power. It's all in his favor there to me. And not to mention his best friend, Vicente Luque, has fought Bilal twice now. So I'm sure he can offer plenty of insight on little things that he picked up from fighting Bilal, tendencies, things like that. And of course, Bilal beat Luque in the last one. But give me a guy in Gilbert who's comfortable and even dangerous on the mat if Bilal takes him down, and who I believe is a level above in the striking, plus the fighter who seems to be more ready for this fight. I will roll with him. I'll say he makes a statement as well. I think he's going to put Bilal out as this fight goes on. I'm going to say Gilbert Burns, 4th round TKO. And you would have to imagine that sets him up for a title shot against the winner of Brian Colby.
Like, as much as I think Burns is going to win, bro, I really want Bilal to win. Like, I really do.
All right, boys, it is main event time. Here we go.
You all said Burns there?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm surprised. That's why I wanted to go first.
I am too. All right.
I want to pick Bilal so bad, but this is one of those.
I'm a Gilbert guy now.
Now.
I used to be like, oh, he's cool. But now I'm like, he's my guy.
Beat Street Jesus. Let's
I've been a
go
Gilbert
on
guy.
the train.
I tried to talk up why he was the toughest matchup that Usman ever faced.
Yeah, man.
Didn't go so well, but
Nope.
Nah, it was probably the Chimaev fight that made me really into a Burns guy.
The Chimaev fight was a great showing for both.
Great fight, man. Okay. It's almost 1 a.m. Okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do this.
we haven't been doing this for 3 hours or anything.
Let's see. Main event, UFC 288. We have Aljamain Sterling defending his UFC Bantamweight Championship against the returning, unretiring Henry Cejudo. Now, Sherdog says that his nickname is the Messenger.
Yeah.
Always.
Has it been?
Yeah.
I do not recall him being called
Granted,
that.
they may not announce that anymore because now do they announce Triple C
Maybe.
when he gets announced? I don't even
I
know.
don't know.
All right, let me set this up real quick. So Aljamain Sterling, Funk Master, the 33-year-old out of Cortland, New York, 22-3, 8 submission victories, 10 decision victories. He's on quite a tear in his career, man. He has found another level. He is on an 8-fight win streak, including taking the title from Piotr Jan, defending it also against TJ Dillashaw. And across from him is going to be Henry Cejudo, the 36-year-old out of Phoenix, Arizona, former Olympic gold medalist, former UFC flyweight champion, and former UFC bantamweight champion. 16-2 as a pro in MMA. 8 knockouts on his record and 8 decisions as well. He himself is on a 3-fight win streak, but then he retired sort of after he defended the bantamweight title against Dominic Cruz back in May of 2020. So we're talking a nearly 3-year layoff for Mr. Triple C.
Almost exactly.
Almost exactly. Yeah, almost to the day. I will go first. This is a tough fight. I don't know. I think Aljo is probably going to be favorited just because of the layoff of Cejudo. I'm guessing. I could be wrong. But Cejudo makes it interesting. I feel like Cejudo, in some ways, it's like he, not that he's underrated, but like he surprises guys. Like when he knocked out Dillashaw, it was like, holy shit. Once he got the proverbial monkey off his back by defeating Mighty Mouse Johnson, he definitely found another level, I think. And then he knocked out Marlon Moraes, and then he knocked out Dominic Cruz. Similar to my Kron Gracie pick, my Kron Gracie non-pick, I'm going to say 3 years is just too long of a layoff to come back against a guy at such a high level as Aljamain Sterling. I mean, this fight really is a clash of titans here. That being said, Cejudo's obviously a very tough, very durable guy. He's never been submitted. So I'm going to say that Aljamain Sterling is going to, should I say UD or split? I'll say unanimous decision for Aljamain Sterling and Still.
The odds on this fight have got to be like right there. I mean,
You think they're close?
I kind of do, man. I mean, the reality is that Aljamain Sterling doesn't really fucking lose. That's just a fact.
Would you like to know?
I'm going to guess. Let me guess this time.
Yeah, let's get you guess first, Mike.
I'm going to say Aljo is like a 1. I'm going to say he's like a 200 favorite. Wow. And I'm going to say that.
That's wild, bro.
No? I'll say that Cejudo's like minus 150. I don't know. I'm not a bettor.
I would say Aljo at best is minus 150. He's probably like maybe like minus maybe 135, 140. And I would think Cejudo's maybe plus 125, maybe plus 120.
All right, let's hear it.
There.
It's not a bad guess. It's even closer than that.
Oh, wow.
And the favorite is Henry Cejudo. Really, they're like co-fit. It's neither man is plus money. Cejudo is minus 115, and Aljo is minus 105. So basically, you're paying the vig to bet either one of them.
Yeah, wow.
It's pretty much a pick'em's fight.
It's a crazy situation you really got going on here, man. Because Aljo again doesn't lose. He's got this ridiculous ass reach when it comes to this, this weight class, and a guy as short as Henry is. Henry's 5'4". Aljamain is 5'7". We've seen them stand next to each other. Like Henry Cejudo is like looking straight the fuck up at Aljamain Sterling. And Aljamain Sterling is one of these guys that knows how to use his length in the cage. And the wrestling pedigree is all well and good until you get punched in the face. And you can do that in MMA, and it makes for significant changes in how people approach things. If we were on an Olympic mat, I'd be picking Henry Cejudo to win that wrestling match every day of the week, frankly. But that's not what this is. This is going to be everywhere. And I think Aljamain has the length to strike. I think he's got the fight IQ that's required for such a high-level fight against a chess master, basically like Henry Cejudo, because we've seen Cejudo adjust on the fly. But I just think Aljamain Sterling brings a lot of tools to the table here. And I think a lot of his tools match up well with Henry Cejudo's positives, like his wrestling, his dynamic movement, his ground control. He's not really a lay and pray kind of guy, nor do I think he could do that to Aljamain Sterling, even if he was. And I just don't see. I just see more avenues for Sterling. As thin as those avenues are, I just see more of them than I do for Cejudo. But the reality is, man, this fight could go in any fucking direction at any given time because both of these guys are the elite of the elite. But I am going to go with Aljamain Sterling, and I am going with split decision and Still.
Okay, Mark, bring it on.
Off. I thought you were both going to take Cejudo, and you both took Aljo.
Dude, I've been going back and forth for like the week. It has been the worst.
I have to. All right, so I gave you the odds, basically a pick'em fight. Aljo's 3 inches taller. The reach is a mess because Henry Cejudo has different reaches depending where you look. Some places have his reach at 67.5, which means it's only 3.5 inches less than Aljo. Some places have his reach at 64, which means it's 7 inches less than Aljo. So I don't know how we have 64 and 67.5 for Henry's reach, but if it's 7, that's a fucking lot. So yeah, and as Omar said, in all these clips, he looks like the significantly smaller human. But massive fight here. Aljo undefeated in 8 in a row. Cejudo returning, trying to claim the belt he never lost, and then I'm guessing try to push for a title shot at featherweight so he can have 3 belts, as he has alluded to. It's tough. I could talk myself into either guy winning. I'm about as 50-50 as it gets. I have been flip-flopping. I think it's one of 2 scenarios. One is that the length of Aljo is too much. He eventually gets Henry's back and chokes him out. The other one is that he can't keep Henry off him because his striking is just not good enough, and that he can't take Henry down, and he ends up kind of getting busted up inside. Like, I could see it either of those ways. If it goes to the cards, for some reason, I don't think it's Aljo on the cards. I don't know. I mean, I even take that back. I could see this fight go 5 different ways for both fucking guys. But we know the MMA mind of Cejudo. He probably has 10 avenues planned out that he sees himself capable of winning this fight in. I'm sure he's got a plan A through plan Z. The dude is fucking brilliant, as you see in the coaching, how much he's helped guys. If you're Team Henry here, you would like to think that Aljo's striking is not dangerous enough to deter Henry, despite the length, and that Henry can get inside, throw hands all fight, and not be overly concerned about a takedown because he's Henry fucking Cejudo. But Henry's never fought anyone close to this size. The only one is Dom, and Dom was returning from like 4 years of inactivity. So there's really nothing to base this on how he will do with a guy who is so much bigger than him. On the other side, if you're in the Aljo camp, you'd like to think he can use that length to keep Henry away, like he's done to others, like Petr Yan, and that even though straight takedowns may not be there, that the length of Aljo, the craftiness of Aljo, the ability to cling in certain situations allows him to take a back or something like that, and that maybe Cejudo's in trouble once it hits that spot. But then you look at Aljo's resume, and you realize that on this whole run, he hasn't really beaten anyone with a massive grappling pedigree in any way. Nothing close to a Henry Cejudo. So are we sure his grappling stacks up? I mean, TJ was going to be interesting, but we didn't even get to see it. So I don't know. If his grappling does stack up and he can like backpack a Henry Cejudo, we may be having to admit that we're looking at an all-time grappler here in Aljamain Sterling. And maybe we are. So I don't know. I didn't even write a pick down prior to this show because I didn't know which way I wanted to go. I feel like when I break it down and analyze it, the answer to me is Cejudo, but for some reason my eyes and the vibe I have is telling me it's going to be Aljo somehow. So I don't know exactly how. Maybe Henry looks to defend a takedown and Aljo kind of just holds on as Henry turns away, and next thing you know, he's on the back and chokes him out.
I love it.
So I will say Aljamain Sterling, round 2, rear naked choke.
So there's one scenario I kind of see coming. Now that you've said some of that, there's because of the height and the reach advantage that Aljo has. There's something about these straight knees up the middle that I think is going to make Henry's face go kaplunk.
Wow.
I'm not betting on it.
Okay.
But goddamn, do I see it?
Because I have melted like the Wicked Witch. Mark, will you do the honors and take us out?
We're out. Yeah, that's all she wrote. We're not doing trivia, right?
No.
All right. So yeah, enjoy your MMA this weekend.